Welcome back, Fantasy Pros. I am Andrew Erickson, and today I'm here to break down, like I do every single week, the top trade targets and fades for this week's upcoming matchups. But before I get to my trade list, unlock the full potential of your team with Trade Central. Pinpoint your strengths, weaknesses, and top trade partners all in one place. Next, stay ahead of the competition by using the Trade Finder to uncover game-changing trades that can take your team to the next level. And finally, before you pull the trigger on any deal, rely on the Trade Analyzer to see how your moves will impact your lineup and your chances of victory. With my playbook's powerful trade tools at your fingertips, with everything you need to win every deal and dominate the season, head to fantasypros.com/myplaybook or download the Fantasy Football My Playbook app today. Now, let's get to the trade list, my top 10. Number 10, Tony Pollard, rest of season rank, RB24, 5. Tony Pollard led the Titans on the ground with 82 yards and 16 carries, including a 26-yard run on a 61% snap share. Pollard also scored the Titans' only rushing touchdown. Pollard was the Titans' featured running back in Week 1. It was less than a 50-50 split with Tajay Spears, as the coaches suggested leading up to the season. Pollard also added 12 receiving yards on 3 catches for 4 targets, posting a 12.5% target share and 29% target rate. I love him as an underrated running back target ahead of a home matchup versus the New York Jets in Week 2, who were gashed by 49ers running back Jordan Mason on Monday Night Football. Trade Najee Harris, Javonte Williams, or this next sell running back to acquire Pollard, who's valued at a round 6 pick in the rest of season rankings on Fantasy Pros. Number 9, J.K. Dobbins, rest of season rank, RB28, sell. Dobbins dominated on the ground for the Chargers with 135 rushing yards on just 10 carries, averaging an impressive 13.5 yards per carry, including a 61-yard run that showcases explosiveness. Per next-gen stats, Dobbins posted a career-high plus 98 rushing yards over expected. He scored from the 12-yard line and led the backfield with a 58% snap share. Gus Edwards, meanwhile, had 26 rushing yards on 11 carries. Edwards had 3 red zone carries to Dobbins' 2, but Dobbins had the lone carry from inside the 10. But in the first half, carries and snaps favored Gus Edwards, although Dobbins broke out in the second half. However, it should be noted that he was caught from behind on some of his longer runs. Dobbins is explosive, no doubt, but it's clear that the very top-notch gear is still lacking a little bit due to all the lower body injuries over the past couple years. As somebody who's pounding the table for Dobbins all off-season, and for someone who's just happy to see him healthy, I'm thrilled with his performance in Week 1. But I want to be realistic here. As I discussed previously with FB injury doctor Edwin Porras, he suggested that Dobbins would start strong, see Week 1, but fail to sustain production for the long haul due to the Achilles. It pains me to say this, but as much as I love Dobbins as a draft selection, where he was going so cheap, the sharp move might be to sell high while you can. It's possible Dobbins could have an outlier Raheem Mostert 2023 season for an injury-prone running back, but that's not practical if Edwards is still used near the goal line. At least put Dobbins on the block, who's valued around a round 7 pick, on the trade block and see who bites. See if you can acquire a guy like Jayden Reed or Brian Thomas Jr. as a start, if not for more. Consider a package of Dobbins plus for this next wide receiver. Number 8, Marvin Harrison Jr., rest of season rank, wide receiver 15, 5. Rookie first rounder Marvin Harrison Jr. had a quiet outing in his NFL debut, catching just 1 pass for 4 yards on 3 targets. He also had a drop. His limited involvement was notable as the Cardinals could not integrate the talented rookie into the offense. It was not for a lack of playing time either, as he led the team in routes run. He was also wide open at the end of the game, but Kyler Murray only had eyes for Greg Dortch. Many thought the horizontal raid would end after Cliff Kingsbury's departure, but Kyler Murray was not productive going downfield in this matchup in Week 1 against the Bills. He completed just 1 of 5 attempts of 10-plus air yards. The Bills historically have been great at defending big plays, and they certainly did so in this matchup. They let the safety over the top for much of the game against Harrison. The Rams and their no-name defense that Jameson Williams destroyed on Sunday Night Football should be a better matchup for Harrison in Week 2 at home in the Dome. Send Deebo Samuel or Drake London for Harrison, whose value has fallen all the way into late round 3 in the rest of season rankings. Number 7, Javonte Williams, rest of season rank, RB25, sell. Joe McLaughlin carried the ball 10 times, but only managed 27 yards in Denver's loss against the Seahawks, while Javonte Williams had just 8 carries for 23 yards on a 52% snap share. Seattle stacked the box on 50% of Williams' rushing attempts. Williams started, but McLaughlin was involved throughout. Both guys were used in the red zone, although Denver wasn't there that much as they struggled offensively. The ground attack for Denver was abysmal overall in Week 1 versus Seattle. It doesn't help that left tackle Garrett Bowles was also injured during the game. Udrick Esteban's fumble has bought more time for Williams as the starter in the backfield on early downs, but the lack of juice from the Broncos' run game overall in the offense is very concerning. Williams only ran around on 41% of the dropbacks, while McLaughlin settled at 29%, but the target rates were stark, with McLaughlin seeing a 41% target rate compared to Williams' 11%, way down from last season. Javonte's lack of pass game work is a major red flag. With the upcoming schedule, Pittsburgh, Buccaneers, Jets, I'm not so sure Sean Payton will stay patient enough with Williams if he falters in any way, especially with tougher matchups. More than happy to sell low amid what could be a tough stretch of games for Denver. Sell Javonte Williams, who's still valued as a round 6 pick in the rest of season rankings, for Tank Dell, Tony Pollard, George Pickens, or this next buy low tight end target. You knew it was coming. Number 6, Mark Andrews, rest of season rank tight end 4, 5. Andrews was a non-factor in the opener, catching just 2 passes for 14 yards on 2 targets with a 5% target share. Andrews played 74% of the snaps, slightly ahead of Isaiah Likely at 66%. Andrews also ran more routes than Isaiah Likely. Likely's role won't go away. Basically, you cannot put the genie back in the bottle. But that shouldn't deter fantasy managers away from Mark Andrews. Look, Andrews was coming off an injury from last season. He missed a lot of time leading up to week 1 after suffering an injury in a car accident. Against the Chiefs, he was blanketed and double covered constantly in a horrible matchup against the Steve Spagnuolo defense that has shut him down constantly every single time that they have faced off. In 5 games versus the Chiefs, Andrews has gone over 22 receiving yards and 3 catches once, with 0 touchdowns in all 5 games. Simply put, it was the stone-cold worst performance for a player on a primetime game. It was overemphasized because of how well Isaiah Likely played. Still, the Ravens' offense was not totally efficient. Jackson completed just 1 red zone pass on Thursday night despite 8 attempts. Andrews has been Jackson's guy in the red zone throughout their time spent together in the NFL. He's also not that old. He just turned 29. We've seen numerous tight ends be productive well into their 30s. So although Andrews is no longer in the running to be the tight end 1 this season due to Likely's presence, I still think he could be a weekly starter and provide you an edge at the position. Buy low. Send Stephon Diggs, Brian Robinson Jr., or this next running back to acquire Mark Andrews. Number 5, Rachaad White, rest of season rank RB 18. Sell. On the ground for the Buccaneers, Bucky Irving led the team with 62 yards on 9 carries, including a 31-yard burst, averaging 6.9 yards per carry. Rachaad White struggled to find running lanes, managing just 31 yards on 15 carries with a long run of 15 yards. White averaged minus 2.1 rushing yards over expectation per attempt, the second worst in week 1. Buccaneers starting running back played 70% of the snaps to Irving's 31%. The White-Irving split is somewhat concerning. Look, White saw a 70% snap share or less just 1 time last year, and it was a game where he struggled immensely as a rusher, averaging, again, fewer than 2 yards per carry. Irving stepped in immediately as a rookie, day 3, and excelled rushing in the new scheme orchestrated by new offensive coordinator Liam Cohen. Irving was handpicked by Cohen during the NFL draft as a plan to lessen White's workload, and rookie running backs, especially day 3 picks, don't usually play this much from the get-go in week 1. White's pass catching is still top-notch, but his continued struggles as a rusher are hard to ignore. Given that Irving's a top running back target off waivers this week, makes me hesitant on White long-term. I don't think he goes to total 0 due to the receiving usage, but the carries could shift dramatically if Irving is just more efficient in this rushing scheme. Keep in mind that other than being undersized and not overly athletic, Irving was a talented running back prospect from Oregon. His 3.11 yards per play ranked top 5 in this year's draft class. Trade White at his round 4 value for Malik Neighbors, Brandon Ayuk, or Michael Pittman Jr. Next up here, number 4, De'Von Achane, rest season rank RB7, 5. De'Von Achane saw more action in the Dolphins' backfield with 10 carries, but managed only just 24 yards, averaging 2.4 yards per carry. Despite the modest rushing total, Achane found the end zone on the ground, scoring a rushing touchdown. Raheem Mostert, meanwhile, struggled to gain much ground, rushing for just 9 yards on 6 carries. Mostert had 0 red zone opportunities and got banged up towards the end of the game. And most importantly, Achane was super involved as a receiver. He made a significant impact in the passing game, catching all 7 of his targets for 76 yards, twice being targeted in the red zone, with eye-popping over 100-plus yards after the catch, proving his versatility as a dual-threat back. Essentially, he operated as the Dolphins' 3rd wide receiver with a 32% target rate. The path for the uber-efficient rusher to hit his fantasy ceiling is going to be through pass catching. Buy high on De'Von Achane. Trade this next running back to acquire him. Number 3, Kyren Williams, rest season rank RB9, sell. Kyren Williams led the ground attack for the Rams, rushing 18 times for 50 yards and a touchdown while playing 91% of the offensive snaps. He was the main focal point of the Rams' backfield, contributing both the running and passing game. Ronnie Rivers, not Blake Corum, who played 0% of the snaps on Sunday Night Football, served as the RB2, rushing twice for 16 yards. However, Kyren Williams struggled with his efficiency, posting just 2.8 yards per carry and minus 1 rushing yards per attempt over expectation. I'm selling Kyren Williams high off the snap share alone. This offensive line for the Rams could be problematic with all the injuries to 4 of their starters: Joe Nopu, Steve Avila, Kevin Dotson, Rob Havenstein. And I don't expect Corum to be a total 0 for the rest of the season. Send Williams or Nico Collins, Jaylen Waddle, or Rashee Rice. Next up, my last buy. Number 2, Jayden Reed, rest of season rank wide receiver 31, 5. The Packers' go-to receiver in week 1 was Jayden Reed, who was explosive throughout the game. Got 4 of 6 targets for 138 yards, including 57 yards after the catch with highlight reel touchdown. Reed showed his versatility, adding a 33-yard for a touchdown. He commanded over 100 air yards and ran a route on 73% of the dropbacks. That's what managers need to do with the Jordan Love situation, who's been slated to miss at least 3 to 4 weeks. For me, it's still to buy the talented Jayden Reed. In week 1, Reed leads the NFL in receiving yards. I'm not saying this is sustainable, but it's just a reminder of how great Reed is as a player. He's great as rookie, and so far, he's checking off all the boxes we want to see in year 2. Reed is also a scheme-touch player in the Packers offense. I'm less concerned about his production with a backup quarterback. Reed might not even have to be someone you start right away, given the quarterback concern, because he's discounted. Love's injury has opened a buying window for an uber-talented player like Reed. When I saw Reed ripping off touchdowns left and right on Friday night, I wish I had drafted more of Jayden Reed. And now you get the opportunity to get him on more of your teams. Send DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, and T. Higgins to get Jayden Reed. My number one sell this week, Deebo Samuel, rest of season rank, it's wide receiver 14, sell. Deebo Samuel has a monster Monday Night Football game against the Jets, taking on a larger role as a rusher with Christian McCaffrey out with his calf Achilles injury. Samuel took 8 carries for 23 yards and scored a rushing touchdown. He also commanded 9 targets for a 31% target share, catching 5 for 54 yards. But this boom game for Samuel was easy to see coming. No CMC, Brandon Ayuk was fresh off his hold-in, battling the Jets' top cornerbacks on the perimeter. It was a great matchup for Deebo, so it was very predictable that he was able to smash here. We do the same old song and dance with the 49ers offensive players all the time. Samuel smashes when other guys are out or limited. But we know based on his injury history, the good times don't always last. So sell high on Deebo Samuel to acquire a guy like Nico Collins, buying low on Marvin Harrison Jr., or getting the Chiefs' #1 wide receiver in Rashee Rice. That has a bow on my players to trade list for week 2. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and share with all your friends, just not the ones in your league. But again, before you go, don't forget, unlock the full potential of your team with Trade Central. Pinpoint your strengths, weaknesses, and top trade partners all in one place. Dominate your deals today at FantasyPros.com/myplaybook. Thanks for watching and good luck in those trade streams.